Hello, welcome to my first proper allotment slash garden vlog. The previous video that I uploaded was just a little overview showing you my allotment plot, which I got in September of 2023. So it's just a little introduction about kind of just as it is at the moment. There are some exciting plans for the allotment. The fruit cage that you've previously seen, I'll put a photo up, but the fruit cage that is there is coming down because personally I don't care too much about soft fruit. There are about 8 raspberry canes in there. There's also a gooseberry and I think a blackcurrant. I'm going to dig them all out. I have gardening friends and they have agreed to take some of the raspberry canes, and I think I'm going to put some of the raspberry canes in the garden here as well, sort of at the back of my garden, and see how they do. But I'm not fussed about having soft fruit at the allotment, so that is coming out. And I ordered a polytunnel. It is meant to be here on the 11th of March, so I need to weed the entire area of the fruit cage, of where the polytunnel is going to go, because the polytunnel is slightly smaller than the fruit cage. It's the same length but it's not the same width. So what I plan to do is kind of put the polytunnel where the fruit cage is, move some of the slabs and everything that are in there around, and then put the polytunnel on there, and then at the side I can have another raised bed. Now I would put like plastic sheeting down for getting rid of the weeds and stuff, but I have dug all of my weeds out of my plot by hand, and then I have heavily mulched everything to try and suppress the weeds. I've also put a few layers of cardboard down on certain areas, but primarily I have dug the weeds out to prepare the earth. And now I'm going to do, I'm not sure if I'm going to do like a full no dig, or whether I'm just going to do it how I want to do it and how I think works. So if something needs like really digging out, there are a few stubborn weeds on my plot. If I can get them out with a fork or a spade or something, I'm going to do that. So yeah, that's my plan. I will update you guys on how that is going, obviously. Behind me is Seed Station Central. I did a little kind of tour in the previous, my like intro video about what's going on here. I'm filming this directly after doing that intro video, so nothing has really grown, but I will just give you a little quick tour. And also I just wanted to show you, in the heated propagator in the living room there are some Chinese dragon tongue chilies which have just started emerging, which I'm really excited about, so I'll show you those as well. As I said, nothing's really changed. These are the cayenne peppers, chili peppers, whatever you want to call them. These are doing really well. I do need to maybe pot them down a little bit further, but they won't be staying in these sort of 7cm pots. I will be potting them on again, so when I pot them on again I will just plant them a little bit deeper and just see how they do. Maybe I'll do that with 1 or 2, but I'm not sure. They've gone a little bit leggy, but as you can see I do have grow lights as well as sunlight, and it is quite warm in here as well, so they should hopefully do a little bit better than that. And the same with my aubergines as well, just a little bit on the kind of leggier side than I would like, but we're just gonna have to deal with that. The spring onions really need to be planted out, so I do need to kind of put them outside. Same with, I mean, it's unfortunate that I put it in with the spinach, but I do need to kind of take these outside just to sort of harden them off. I'm not sure whether they are the hardy ones. I'll have to have a look, because if they're hardy I can just put them straight outside. This lettuce I need to do something with desperately, but the peas also need to go out, but these I will need to harden off. So I do ideally need to take this whole tray and just start the hardening off process, because the roots are starting to come out the bottom. Oh, you're attached to my lettuce. The roots are just starting to come out. So that to me says that they need to be in the ground. So I need to do that ASAP. So that's one of the jobs for this week. My herbs are all doing nicely. I've got some coriander coming up, and so the parsley's still waiting. But the pak choi, I multi-sowed it, or sown it. I need to thin it out. So some of these have gone quite leggy, like this one. Others are really quite small, and I'll see how they do, but I won't thin them until I'm kind of sure about which ones are doing what. My giant sunflowers have started to come up as well, which is good. The potatoes, I know I need to go through and like rub off some of these other little areas. So a majority of these potatoes do have like just 2 main shoots, but I do need to go through and kind of rub off all of the kind of littler ones that aren't going to produce anything. Down here nothing's really happening. I've got an emergence of a leek, but the beetroot isn't doing anything. The sweet peas, so I'm not expecting these to be anything fantastic because I used my houseplant compost mix for this because it's the only thing that I had to hand. Not sure if they're going to like it, but we'll see what happens. There is a slight emergence there, so they might be okay, but it's nice and warm there with the lid on. So yeah, let's go and see those Chinese dragon tongues. This little section. So in here I've got some California Wonder sweet peppers, which are doing great. My Zitava peppers haven't come up at all, and I think I had a duff bag of chili pepper pearls because they have been in there for a while now and they haven't done anything, whereas the cayenne I've already taken out, and these California Wonder were planted at the same time, and the germination time on the California Wonders was longer than the pepper pearls. So I think I'm going to have to get another batch of those and replant. I've got 1 Chinese dragon tongue. Yay! I'm hoping some of the rest come up. I got these ones from Real Seeds. I've had some cucumber seeds, some lemon crystal cucumber seeds from them before. Welcome to plot 5A, this side on the left. Today I have brought all of my, well, majority of my bamboo sticks with me so that we can, I've also brought a saw and a bunch of other stuff. In this bit here I need to put in the peas. You see that bunch of peas there? I need to put those in here. I've sectioned it off. I've also bought some pea seeds because over this section over here I need to plant some other peas, I think, or just see if they will do anything. I also need to do some weeding. So even though I mulched all of this, there are those horrible weeds coming up. So I need to get those out of everywhere again. This is the kind of pile that I'm putting them in and letting them decompose. These ones I think I will actually just put into my compost bin. That's not a problem. The birds are going absolutely mad today. I will also just show you, fallen over, my onion and garlic that I planted out in autumn, so October. It's doing really well. Obviously it's a little bit wet and the leaves are doing a little bit of yellowing, but there's growth in there still, and once it stops being so wet I think it'll all be fine. I think these are a mixture of white and red onions as well. There's some onions that are only just coming up now, but there's red ones over there because I can see the red bottoms. I've also got, so this is a row of garlic down the middle, so a handful of garlics. In this one as well I've got my elephant garlic, which is doing really nicely. This also started to yellow, but I think where it's got less wet now, it's doing well. There's some slugs in there. They can stay there, that's fine. They won't do much damage. But these are all garlic as well. So a nice bunch of garlic. A couple of them haven't come up, And then here, these are definitely red onions. You can see the red on that one. But these are doing okay, but again, got these horrible weeds which need to get out. So yeah, let's get going. Oh, let's just update you on my broad beans. So these have been in for a little while now. Again, another area which needs weeding. These weeds are prolific because this is quite a deep bed, and I have added compost to this, and they're just coming straight on up. So I really need to go through and really get the roots out, but I think it's going to be one of those weeds that's just going to be very persistent on my plot, along with bindweed. It is kind of, I tried to pull up as much as possible, but it's a bit riddled. Just so I can get some face content as well. I'm wearing the brightest jumper, so it's probably not going to be great for camera work because I've worn this when I've filmed before and it's just glary. But yeah, the fruit cage back there as well needs sorting out because it's full of weeds and it needs to come down because my polytunnel is arriving and I need to put the polytunnel up, so that needs to come down. So I need to do some weeding in there. Really, I'm going to attract all of the bugs because I've just got thunderbugs coming at me now. First things first, I think I'm going to create a little pea structure for my peas, put those in, and also I did bring my rosemary plant, so I need to look at my planting plan and see where I need to put that, and then get some weeding done. My sticks can stay here and I can construct my runner bean area next time, but I need to get the peas in, so let's do that. Just looking around at other people's, like this one here's got a pea. Like my peas are only going to be small, they're not like big giant peas, they're only going to be small. So where else is there peas? I'm going to make a small one. There is my helicopter going over. A completed pea frame. It's quite sturdy. had a little bit of trouble using the saw because I'm not like very DIY oriented, very accident prone. But yeah, there's my pea frame. So it's going to be perfect because as the peas grow up, it's going to cast a lot more shade on the garlic and the onions, which is great because they don't need a lot of sun when we start to get eventually more sun. So I'm going to put some peas in now, sort of one at every stick and then kind of in between. I'm going to see how it goes. I may only plant half of the pea frame because I don't have that many peas, and then I will sow seeds in the other half ready. I also need to put in a little bit of a slug trap, so yeah, let's do that now. There we go. Whether or not they will survive, I have no clue, but there's a good amount of peas in there. I think a couple of them got slug eaten where I hardened them off outside at home, but I think there's a good 20 plants, so we should get a nice pea abundance. And then with this last little area, I'm going to just dig 2 drills and then just spread some seeds so I get a kind of later crop, and hopefully these don't get eaten by slugs. The good thing about the allotment compared to at home is that the birds, there's plenty of birds here. At home, because I've got 4 cats, the birds don't come into the garden because they're going to get caught by the cats that are always loitering. Let me take my coffee. I'm going to go and sit down on my chair down here, have a little rest because I haven't sat down. So I've done a little bit of weeding. I got a new flask to bring with me because I really wanted a warm drink whilst I was here, even though it is really warm today. I think my weather app said it's going to be 14 degrees and I don't think it's wrong. It's quite nice and warm. Yeah, so I bought myself a new flask. The only thing is that I didn't bring a mug or a cup and it doesn't have one on the top, so I am just going to have to scald my mouth with my coffee. But I've done some weeding, which I didn't film because weeding is one of those tasks where it's very monotonous, and it's just not nice to sit and watch me weed a bunch of stuff. But I pulled some of all of that weed that was growing in these beds here. I pulled it up, and I also dug a bunch out of the fruit cage here as well, so I can kind of prepare the ground ready for the polytunnel. And what I've done is, because I can't compost that, I'm worried about composting. I know it's not got any like seed heads, but it's got very rigorous roots, and I'm worried about composting it. So these flies, I've got loads of thunderbugs attacking me with my jumper. I'm worried about composting it, so what I've done is I have pulled out a lot of, like, there's some grass growing and some weeds that I can compost because they haven't got a seed head. So I have pulled all of those out, just a few. I'm not doing it all because otherwise it is going to be a job, and it's already 20 past 12. So I've pulled out what I can, and then of the, like, these bugs, man, this jumper was a bad idea. Of the rigorous root weed, which I cannot remember the name of, I have pulled the things up that I can. I've kind of tried to dig down and get the long root which all of the shoots grow out of. I've tried to dig down. Some of them I haven't managed to get it, so I know that it's going to come back up, but I think as long as I am keeping on top of it and I come and do the weeding like once a week, which I will do anyway, and do some weeding when I'm here, just a little bit, I'll keep on top of it and hopefully we'll get rid of it. But I've put it in my weed bucket, which I'm going to take home and put in my brown bin at home for collection. The bin that I put like all of my grass clippings in from home, and just cuttings at home as well, because I don't have a composter at home. So I'm going to take that and put it in my bin so they can just get gone, and it's not going to be in any compost or, you know, going to create any additional problems. So that's what I've done. We've got our coffee, just having a quick break. I'm going to put those pea seeds in on the other side of my pea thing. I was going to make another pea arch because just here in this bed, this is slightly smaller, this one, but in half of it I'm going to put some more peas. In the other half I'm putting carrots, I think, can't remember. But I was going to build another one, but that actually took me a little while to build, so I think what I might do, because I have long sticks, what I might do is just purchase some smaller sticks so I don't have to cut them and then have these ridiculously tiny offcuts. So I won't be building that today, that'll be another job, and I also won't be doing my runner bean arch either. That will be a job for another day. I do need to put in my seed potatoes that I brought up. They're my first earlies. They are, what are they called? Can't remember the name, but when we put them in, I think I've still got the label on them, so I'll let you know. If not, I'll let you know when I get home. But I've put some in at home in a bucket, well, kind of like a soft bucket, and I'm going to put them in over there. And I know it is like a little bit maybe on the early side to putting them in the ground. Oh my god, hold on a minute, there's a buzzard. I don't know whether or not you can see it. Where is he? There he is. There he is. That one's not a buzzard. I don't know what that one is. There's red kites up here, so maybe it's a red kite, but sorry for that interruption. Whenever there's wildlife, I'm like, oh my god, look at it. They're very common up here, and I can hear them going, ah, in the, well, not in the sky, but somewhere. Yeah. So I need to put those potatoes in, and I know that it is a little bit maybe on the early side and that I shouldn't really be putting them out until the frost has passed, but I do have some fleece, so I'm going to keep an eye on the weather. I did look at the weather, like the 10-day forecast, and it is going to be quite warm, so I'm confident that it's going to be fine, but I'm going to keep an eye on the weather, and if the temperature does dip, then I'll come up here and I will put a fleece over, especially if the shoots start coming up. But yeah, I'm confident that they'll be fine. I've put them in at home in buckets before this time and they've been absolutely fine. So I'm just going to keep an eye on the weather, and then if they don't perform, I still have my second earlies, which I'm going to put in half of the other bed as well. So yeah, that's what we're going to do next.
My shallow thing. These are foremost potatoes. So at the moment they're looking like this. They've got some nice sprouts. And we're just gonna plop them in. I don't want huge potatoes, so they're just going in fairly close to one another, and then I've got 4 more I can put in this bit. So I'm going to rake all of this back over, cover them up. There's a nice big juicy worm. Look at him. They won't need watering because the ground is nice and moist. I'm going to pop you back over there now. And then, so if that's there, we'll do another one sort of here. So let's dig a thing. I will be earthing these up. It's the way, I know a lot of people nowadays just like put all of the soil on top and don't bother earthing. I will be earthing them up because it's the way that I've always done it. I've got good yields from doing it that way. So I'm also now alone in the allotment. I don't think anyone else is here. Okay, this also gives me great time to get any weeds out, like any of those nasty weeds. Should be fine. And then we just plop. Give him a bit more soil. There we go. So I will be earthing them up a little bit, not too much, but enough that I should get a nice big root ball. So I've put 8 in here, and then I've got 4 at home, so I've got 12 in total. The second earlies will be going in over there. So they're in there. You can see where I've disturbed it and it's wet. So I'm not going to worry about watering them because, as I said, the soil is quite wet and it's going to rain later anyway. But the second earlies will go into this half, and I think I'll probably be able to get 3 if I stagger them, if I do them diagonal. Should be able to get a nice set of 3 rows, and then if there's any left over I'll put them in at home. So that is the plot so far. This one I'm like right on the boundary back here. So the broad beans are doing absolutely amazingly, and everything's starting to come to life a little bit more now. I still need to clear this, but I'm getting really hungry, so I'm gonna head home. There, I've released the hair. Yeah, I'm gonna head home now. I've kind of done all that I can. I need to load the car up and then get home and have lunch, and then school pickup time. So yeah, everything's looking good. I'm pleased with the progress. I've got a bunch of seeds and everything at home, which obviously I can't put in yet. I've got to wait for a bunch of them until it is warmer, and hopefully the peas survive. I will be back up on Sunday because I'm going to tackle, I may even come back up tomorrow, I don't know, it depends what time I get, but I'm going to tackle more of the fruit cage over the weekend at some point, and yeah, hopefully get it all sorted. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys soon.